complicated issue. The trend is that people like to check each other out. They don't want to get married. They don't want to have a cohabitation, get to know each other better. In fact, a lot of people even have children before they get married, and they may not even get married. Now, which I, from a traditional point of view, don't think is a good idea. Yeah. Okay. In order for two people to get married more successfully, we need certain metrics. Now, the best way and the only way to match is to match the two people's year, month, day, and hour of birth. So the year, month, and day, and hour of birth dictate the compatibilities between two people. Now, that's a very important factor because you can get married without compatibilities, but your marriage would be kind of not communicating, would be kind of a failure. The second important thing is look at the timing. The timing is the life cycles of each party. In other words, you look at the husband's timing for marriage, look at the lady's timing for marriage, and see, number one, whether they are in a true marriage cycle or not. Number two, whether the cycle match each other. And this is called connectivities. 99% of divorces happen because of timing. Number one, connectivity was out. In other words, they got married at the wrong time in their life. Second problem is compatibility issue. Either issue can lead to divorce. So in order to minimize that, it's always good to do a thorough matching. Now, let me give you some rule of thumb to match based on the 12 signs. Now, the 12 signs are the 12 horoscopic signs in the Chinese chart. Now let's start with the sign of dog, since this is a dog here. Now, a dog, unlike any other signs, has the maximum number of conflicting signs associated. That's why in the history, in the past many years, a dog year used to be a bad year, economically speaking, except this year. Because this year, 2006 is a lucky sign. Now the negative sign to the dog is a dragon. They're at the two opposite ends. So if a dragon and a dog person would meet, at the beginning, they would tend to have a lot of conflicts. And only after they break through the conflicts, they would become very matching. Interesting enough, once a dog and a dragon match, it's extremely hard to separate them. So the key to a marriage between a dragon person and a dog person is to break through the initial handicap. And after that, they can actually get married for life. But bearing one thing in mind, because they're opposite, they always argue and they have problems. Different problems, small problems, usually. So dragon, being opposite the dog. What about another dog? We say two dogs should never be partners, should never be husband and wife, right? The reason, dogs are very strong personality people. When the two of them get together, they seldom would agree on issues. They tend to fight. As a result, either they would go separate ways, or they would just tough it out for the rest of life arguing. So it's not a good idea for two dogs to marry. So dogs and dragons are both against the dog. Now the third sign that's really against the dog is the rooster people. Rooster also has very strong personalities. So when rooster would mix with the dog, they also tend to fight a lot, and usually tend to divorce in the long run. So that's very dangerous sign to match. Now with the dog, two other signs also should not be couples if you can avoid it. One is a sheep. Sheep and dog tend to break in terms of relations, tend to run into legal conflicts. So not a good idea for sheep person to get married to a dog person. And the last sign that should not get married to a dog person is the ox. Now, ox people, like the sheep people, have a similar relation with the dog. That is the loneliness sign, the avoidance, the conflicts. Now let me give you those years. The dogs, and so you know who you are, the dogs are born in 1934, 46, 58, and 70, 82. Those are the dogs. And the dragons are born in 1940, 52, 64, 76, and 88. And the roosters born in 1944, 1945, 57, 69, and 81. That's roosters. And the sheep are born in 1943, 55, 67, 79. And the ox, 1949, 61, 73, 85. None of these signs, if you can avoid it, should get married to a dog-born person. Dog-year-born person. Keep that in mind, that's a rule of thumb. Now, before I move on to other signs, I want you to realize what is meant by marriage. Marriage timings are important. It had to be based on two factors. Number one, your year, month, day, and hour of birth have to have a spousal sign. So if you are a lady, you should have a husband sign. If you're a man, you should have a wife sign. People missing those signs may have trouble getting married. And people with more than two signs called the yin and yang, mistake sign, would tend to become homosexual. In other words, homosexuality is more or less born with, not trained afterwards. And I've proven the point after seeing so many people like that. Okay? So it's very important to recognize whether or not that person can get married. The second factor is the life cycles. If a person does not have any marriage life cycles throughout their life, they may stay single for life. So, but on the opposite hand, if a person has a marriage cycle, get married, sometime later, another marriage cycle comes up, and both of them had the marriage life cycles come up, and these cycles tend to conflict, then you're talking about divorce. So in order to avoid divorces, you also have to do a matching. Number one, make sure the year, month, day, and hour matching. Number two, make sure that that's the last marriage cycle the person has. Don't marry someone who has multiple marriage cycles, because that would be disastrous. So keep that in mind, very important. Now, let me move to the next sign. The sign of the dog is pig, the Boer people. The pigs are born in 1935, 47, 59, 71, 83. Now, Boer people are very loyal people, and very loving people, romantic people too. And they can match most signs. The best matching for the pig people would include the rabbits, who are born in 1951, 63, 75, 87, followed by the tigers, born in 1950, 62, 74, 86, and then followed by the sheep, born in 1955, 67, and 79, and 91. These signs can match with the pig. The main sign against the pig in terms of marriage are two signs. Number one, the snake. The snake and the pigs are opposite. They would tend to fight. And the relation would be very similar to that one between the dragon and the dog. They're opposite, but when you can break the shield, as time goes on, they actually become better. So snakes and pigs can actually marry as long as they break the initial blockage to wait for longer term. Snakes are born in 1953, 65, 77. Another sign that may have a conflict with the pig in terms of marriage is the monkeys. The monkeys are 1956, 68, 80, and 92. So if you can avoid matching the snake and the pig, matching between the monkey and the pig, you are better off. Okay, I think I forgot to tell you who are matching with the dog. Let's flashback a bit. I told you 5 signs cannot mix with the dog, but there are some signs mixing well with the dog. The number one sign matching very well with the dog is a rabbit, born in 1951, 63, 75, 87, followed by the horse, born in 1954, 66, 78, and 90, and then the tiger, 1950, 62, 74, and 86. So for the dog people, there are 5 negative signs, but they still have about 3 very positive signs, still not too bad, to counteract it. How will you know you run into the right sign? Very simple. If it's the right sign for you, you run into the person, you feel some kind of thing connecting between the two of you. You like to talk to that person. You like to mix with that person a lot. That can prove some point later on when you match with your signs, there's some commonality between them. So we'll talk about the dog, the pig. The one after that is more interesting sign, that is the rat. The rat and the pig are 2 of the 4 wealth signs among the 12 signs. The reason is the pig keeps on eating a lot, lots of food, so as the rat tends to hide stuff. So now for the rat, the negative signs that the rat should never marry. The number 1 sign is a horse. Because the rat and the horse are opposite, always tend to argue. So they can be friends and argue on issues, but make sure they are not husband and wife. Otherwise it'll be disastrous. And the horses are born in 1954, 66, 78, and 90, so should not marry a rat person. And just in case you missed what I said, the rat person is born in 1936, 48, 60, and 72, 84. That's a rat. Rat and horse are opposite, don't mix. The second sign, very negative for the rat to marry, would be the sheep. And the sheep is born in 1955, 67, 79, and 91. No marriage to be. But you can be friends, that's it. And the third sign, also very negative for the rat, would be the rabbit. And the rabbits are born in 1939, 51, 63, and 75, 87. So rabbits can marry the dog, can marry the pig, but not the rat. Remember that if they marry the rat, arguments, fighting right through their life, leading to divorce. Even in business, if the 2 of them will try to mix in doing business together, can also be potential problem. So it's not that simple. All right. Now the last sign also a bit negative, but not as bad with the rat. That's a rooster. Okay, roosters are born in 1945, 57, 69, 81. Try not to be husband and wife between rat and one of those signs. I will repeat. The negative signs for the rat person to marry would be the horse, the sheep, the rabbit, and the rooster, in that order of importance. Now, what is the best sign for the rat? That would be a sign that's connecting well with the rat. The number 1 sign would be the monkey. The monkeys are born in 1956, 68, 80, and 92. Very matching. Next time you look for a girlfriend or boyfriend, make sure you have that kind of matches. And at the end of this, you can ask any questions you like, don't worry. Okay, I'll try to help you out. Now, another sign that's matching very well with the rat is the dragon, born in 1940, 52, 64, 76, 88. And the third is the ox people. And the ox is born in 1949, 61, 73, 85. So these are matching signs. So if you are born in the year of the rat, you are looking for a partner or you are looking for a spouse, the best to match you, remember, would be the monkeys, the dragons, and the ox. That you can save a lot of hassle later on in your life. What about 2 rats? Unlike the 2 dogs that should not get married, 2 rats usually okay, not much conflict. Now, the sign after the rat is the ox. And the ox is born in 1949, 61, 73, 85. The ox is the number 1 most stubborn sign out of the 12 signs. So it's very tacky to get a match for the ox. Ox is opposite to the sheep. Sheep is born in 1943, 55, 67, 79. They should never get to marry to each other. The reason is the opposition can cause a lot of trouble. So no sheep to be a spouse. The second sign also against the ox would be the dog. Dog is 1946, 58, 70, and 82. No marriage for that. And also no good is a horse. 1954, 66, 78, 90. Remember, if you are born in the year of the ox, do not marry. a dog, a horse, or sheep person, unless you like disasters or eventual divorce. What is the most matching sign for these ox people? The number one sign matching with them would be the rooster, born in 1945, 57, and 69, 81, very matching. And followed by the rat, 1948, 60, 72, 84. And further, followed by the snake, born in 1953, 65, 77, 89. So, if you are an ox, try to locate those rats, especially the roosters, and then finally but not least, the snakes. You would have at least a safe relation or marriage. Now the sign after the ox is a tiger. Out of the 12 signs, the tiger is the strongest sign, equivalent to the Leo in the Western astrology. Very talkative, very dominant, very bossy. And their most negative sign against them, there are two signs against them. One is the monkey. Tigers and monkeys are opposite. They're born in 1944, 56, 68, and 80. So no husband, wife to be, no partner to be. And then the snake can be a partner, can be a friend, but not a spouse. The snakes are 53, 65, 77. Remember, if you're born in the year of the tiger, avoid marrying a monkey or a snake person. That can save you a lot of grievances. The number one most matching sign with the tiger is a horse. The horse is 1954, 66, 78, and 90. Excellent connection. Followed by the pig, the boar, born in 1947, 59, 71, 83. So they have very nice matching. And the last but not least is a dog, born in 1946, 58, 70, 82. So if you're a tiger person, you can consider marrying a horse or a pig or a dog to be at least safe. Not absolute, because you still need to match the month and hour in order to marry. And you have to match the month and day as well in order to be in business partnership. So it's quite complicated when you go down to it. The one after that is a rabbit. Now rabbit is also a very strong sign. Rabbit is the number one most sentimental, the moodiest sign of all the 12 signs. If you have a friend or spouse born in the year the rabbit, have fun, because the mood swing can be very extreme. The rabbits are born in 1951, 63, 75, 87. Now the most negative sign for the rabbit people are the roosters. And the roosters are born in 1945, 57, 69, 81. No husband, wife to be, unless you want to kill each other. Also negative for the rabbit would be the rat, 1948, 60, 72, 84. And they tend to fight a lot, different opinions, because rats are very detailed, very demanding. The rabbits are very moody, also very demanding. When you have two demanding signs to be husband and wife, God help you, that's disastrous. And then another sign also quite negative for the rabbit to be spousal is the dragon. Can be very good friends, just not husband and wife. The dragons are 1940, 52, 74, 86. So 76, 88, that's a dragon. Now, after the rabbit, the sign after the rabbit will be the dragon itself. Dragon is the number one most imaginative sign of the 12 signs. So if you know someone who's a dragon, you know that person would have a lot of ideas, a lot of imaginations. And they are born in 1940, 52, 64, 76, 88. So those are the dragons. Dragons will make excellent marketers, strategists, or artists, because they are so imaginative. The most negative sign would be the dog, who's opposite to them. The dogs are 1946, 58, 70, 82. But as I said about the dogs, the dragon and the dog form a heavenly net and earthly net connection. Once you are trapped in this net, it's not separable. So it is actually okay to marry a dog, provided your marriage can last the first 3 years. Once you go past the 3 years, it's almost impossible to break the marriage between a dragon and a dog because of that kind of connection. Okay? Another sign that's opposite to the dragon in terms of a marriage would be the ox. Ox is 1949, 61, 73, 85. So dragons and ox, no marriage, if you can avoid it. And also the rabbits, 1951, 63, 75. There's a reason for dragons and rabbits not to be good companions too, because the dragons are very imaginative. Sometimes they are just in the clouds, whereas the rabbits are very moody. And one is in the clouds, another one is moody. It's kind of hard to imagine how they can carry out the marriage or relation. It would be way too exciting, I think. All right, so remember. So what is the most matching sign for the dragon? Number one is a rat. Okay, the rats are 1948, 60, 72, 84. The reason they are matching is because they form something called golden connection. Okay, so while the dragon is flying high in the sky, you need a little rat hiding in the cave to pull down this dragon so they meet somewhere. So not a bad idea. The second sign we're matching with the dragon is rooster people. The roosters are 1945, 57, 69, and there's good reason to it. While dragons are imaginative, the roosters are very expressive and like to talk. The two of them can get the whole world turned around without doing anything, but they both like to talk. Okay. Now, another sign also not too bad with the dragon is the monkeys. Born in 1956, 68, 80, and 92. There are some magazines here, by the way. Feel free to take copies, they are free. All right. And the magazine also contains my predictions for this year in both Chinese and English. So feel free. Now, passing that point, the next sign is the snake. Out of the 12 signs, the snakes are the sexiest, the most mysterious, and the most beautiful of the 12 signs. If you have a Miss World competition, chances are the snake will win more easily if they're at par. Okay, snakes are very secretive in a way too. They keep things very deep inside themselves. They have good sense of jealous, but they are very quick, very good with money. Snakes are also one of the 4 money signs among the 12 signs. Snakes are born in 1941, 53, 65, 77. I don't know if any one of you are snakes, but they are very interesting signs. Now, snakes are opposite only to 2 signs. One is the pig, born in 1947, 59, and 71, 83. Now, the relation is called the creative relationship. That means at the beginning, they tend to fight like crazy. Once they break through the fighting, they become laughing like crazy. So it's very hard to break the relation between these 2 opposite signs. If the marriage can survive the first 5 years, the marriage will be deemed safe. Remember, the key is 5 years. The key between dragon and dog, 3 years. So it would take the dragon and dog less time than the snake and the pig to secure the marriage. But then after that, it's inseparable. Not a good idea, but they still like to argue. Okay, now the other sign that's negative to the snake is the tiger people. Born in 1938, 50, 62, 74, 86. Now the reason is both of them are very strong in some way. Snake doesn't easily trust people. Tigers are very expressive and also very dominant. They tend to fight when they're together. Both of them want to fight the domain to be the boss. So they should not be husband and wife. Otherwise, they try to kill each other. Okay. So remember, if you're born in the snake, you can marry the pig, but assuming you can survive the first 5 years. But you must not marry the tiger. Otherwise, you argue for life until you die. All right? So very tricky connection. The best connecting sign with the snake, number 1, is a rooster people. Born in 1945, 57, 69, 81. Followed by the monkeys, 1956, 68, 80, 92. And further followed by the ox, born in 1949, 61, 73, 85. So it's very nice matching. At least if you're born in year of the snake, you marry one of those signs, you know your marriage is more or less safe. So remember the rooster, okay, and the monkey and the ox. Now passing that point, the next sign is the number one most impatient sign, the hyperactive sign of 12 signs. That's a horse. Okay, if the horse doesn't run, it's a dead horse. So horse has to run, become very impatient, very agile, very mobile. The horses are born in 1942, 54, 66, and 78. Now the numbers one sign opposite to the horse is a rat. And the rats are born in 1948, 60, 72, 84 should not be companion or husband and wife. But they sometimes can be good friends because they complement each other. Just that they cannot be husband and wife because they want to dominate each other. And it's possible both are dominant. And so that's no good. Now the other sign not good for the horse people to marry would include the roosters, 1945, 57, 69, 81, and the ox, 1949, 61, 73, 85. If you're born in the year of the horse, avoid marrying a rat, a rooster, or an ox person. I said the word. It's up to you to remember that. Okay? Now what is the most matching sign for the horse? The number one sign matching is a sheep. And the sheep is born in 1955, 67, 79, 91. Very matching, very nice. Followed by the tigers, 1950, 62, 74, and 86. And further, followed by the dog, 1946, 58, 70, 82. So these signs are matching with the horse. So if you're born in either horse, the kind of spouse, companion, whatnot you want to secure would be either the sheep, the tiger, or the dog. You'll be much safer. Alright? The one after that is a sheep. Now there's a myth. It's up to you to prove whether the myth is true or not. The myth is that most women born in the year of the sheep would have terrible marriage. I cannot defy that argument. But in a way it's hard to defy because in many cases it's so true. The reason is the sheep people tend to have a loneliness sign. They're kind of the lone wolves. Not as socializing. I'm a typical sheep person. They are born in 1943, 55, 67, 79, 91. But sheep, out of the 12 signs, is the number one financial sign. They're the best to look after numbers and finances. So if you have a spouse born in the sheep, you should let your spouse look after your money. Chances are the money can be kept. And they make excellent accountants, excellent financiers, excellent treasurers. Now the most negative element for the sheep would be the ox. Born in 1949, 61, 73, 85, they must not be husband and wife, not even partners in business. The second sign, very negative for the sheep to marry as a spouse, would be the rat. The rats are 1948 again, 60, 72, 84. And the marriage between the rat and the sheep, time and time again, can prove to be disastrous. And also no good is a dog, 1946, 58, 70, 82. So if you're born in the year of the sheep, try to avoid marrying those signs. That is, no ox, no rat, and no dog. The most matching sign with these sheep people would be a horse. That's 1954, 66, 78, 90. Followed by the rabbit people. Very interesting. Rabbits are 1951, 63, 75. Interesting because the sheep is very practical. The rabbit is very moody. So the sheep can hold the rabbit down to earth. The rabbit can give the sheep people more juice, more life. Put it that way. So it ended up to be a very nice matching personality-wise. By the way, there are some magazines left here. Feel free to take copies free. Also has my yearly prediction right here. Okay, so remember sheep and rabbit match very well. Sheep and horse match very well. The third sign matching quite well too, rank number 3, would be the pig. The pigs are born in 1947, 59, 71, 83. So if you're born in the sheep, remember your spouse preferably would be one of those signs, the rabbit, the horse, or the pig. You can't go much wrong with it. Obviously, you still need to match the month, day, and hour of birth. It's more complicated than just a year, but at least a year plays an important role. In passing the sheep, the next one is a monkey. The monkey is the number 2 most stubborn sign next to the ox. Ox is number 1, monkey is number 2. Monkey is very intelligent, very smart, but the second most agile, mobile sign as well, after the horse. So if you know someone born in the year of the monkey, you know the monkey doesn't like to stay home. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. The number 1 sign opposite to the monkeys. Now, I repeat the monkey years just in case you miss it. 44, 1944, 56, 68, 80, 92. Number 1 opposite sign to them would be the tigers. Tigers are born in 1950, 62, 74, 86. Followed by another sign for marriage only, but good friends, lousy marriage, the pig. 1947, 59, 71, 83. You can have an excellent friend born in the year of the pig, but once they become husband and wife, always conflicts. Another interesting sign with the monkey is a snake. Born in 1953, 65, 77, 89. Monkeys and snakes form a connection. They also form a conflict. They're equal and opposite. Amazing. So it's very juicy, you can call it. A lot of excitement between the snake and the monkey. Alright? So it's your judgment whether, if you're born in the monkey, whether you should marry a snake person. Alright? So very important to know. Now, passing the monkey is a rooster. The rooster is the 12th sign I'm talking about. Number 12 here. I began with the dog. The roosters are born in 1945, 57, 69, 81. Roosters are one of the 4 money signs, wealth signs. The rooster's most opposite enemy is the rabbit. Born in 1951, 63, 75, 87. They're opposite, so they must not do business together. Let alone to be husband and wife would be disastrous between the 2 of them. Another sign also quite negative for them. For marriage is even worse than the rabbit. That is a dog. They say the dog and the roosters tend to fight each other right through. Okay, and the dogs in 1946, 58, 70, and 82. So no marriage between the dog and the rooster unless you want to argue and fight all the time. And also, a rooster must not marry a horse person. Horse is 1954, 66, 78. They would also be disastrous because the combination of the 2 of them creates a divorce sign. So that's quite negative. So if you're born in the year of the rooster, do not marry a dog, a rabbit, or horse person. What is the best for the rooster? Number 1 would be the snake. The snakes are born in 1953, 65, 77, 89. It's very harmonious. Followed by the ox, 1949, 61, 73, 85. And also the dragons, 1952, 64, 76, 88. So remember, if you're born in the year of the rooster, the best spouse, the best partner for you would include the dragon, the snake, and the ox. Okay? So now open the floor to any questions you might have. Any questions? The best for the rabbit is a pig. Yeah, followed by the sheep. And further followed by the dog. 3 signs. Pigs are 1935, 47, 59, 71, 83. So remember, if you know these rules right at the beginning, your chances for having a terrible marriage will be minimized. You have a much better chance of a successful marriage. Remember, marriage is a factor of, number 1, matching. Matching means compatibilities. Number 2, timing. Timing means connectivities. I call it C1 and C2 factor. This is a theory I created. And after doing live chat for tens of thousands of people, it works out like magic. Never make a mistake about the matchings. Any other questions? Are we okay with that?
If I'm married to the opposite sign, what do I do?
I'll give you an example. Now there are two sets of opposite signs that are not too bad. You remember what I said? Dragons and dogs. Reason is heaven and earth. When they combine, nothing can break them. The other opposite signs would be snake and dogs. They fight a lot at the beginning, but afterwards they connect very well, so they're okay. The rule is for the dragon and dog, the testing period, 3 years. Snake and dogs and pigs, the testing period, 5 years. Okay? Now, what about the other opposite signs? Very hard. You try to avoid it. But if you're really stuck, say you're born either red or horse, married to the other sign like red and horse, the best way to do is when somebody argues, you shut up. When they shut up, you argue. So never together. That way you can avoid it. Because it takes two voices to argue. One voice cannot form a fight, doesn't it? Okay? So that's one way. But certain ways can also be a compromise. For example, what if a rooster person gets married to a dog person, disastrous, have a child born in the year of the monkey, that may just do the magic to harmonize the whole family. See the trick? So if for marriage between a dog and a rooster, all you need is a monkey to mediate the situation. What about other opposite signs, like sheep and ox? Not all signs are resolvable. Like sheep and ox should be very hard to resolve. Would be almost impossible to resolve. Any other questions? When for those signs you cannot resolve, the best is to avoid them altogether. Okay. Sometimes it's very hard because I see so many marriages, so many divorces that come to see me. Divorces are never a good pill to swallow. It's bitter, it hurts. Everybody gets hurt, nobody wins. So the best way is before you commit to the marriage, you match it first. That way you can avoid the unnecessary divorce later on. Remember, matchings and timings are the two building blocks for marriage. So magic can be done. Those I help match together, I've done that for hundreds of times. Not one single one has divorced. So it worked very well once you know how to match them. Any other questions? If not, I will let you go. How's that? And wish you a happy Valentine's Day. Enjoy your party. Oh, one concluding remark. A very important remark. I hope you aren't going to forget this. In our life, parents are important to us. They come, they go. One day they got to go. Children are important to us. But when they grow up, they go away. Do you know who's the eventual one with you? Your spouse, your husband or your wife. So it's utmost important to find the right spouse. That's the only one with you for the rest of your life. God forbid you marry the wrong one by making a mistake. If I can help you to help avoid the break, good. If not, the best way is avoid the marriage at the beginning. Do a match before you commit. That's my word. But after you commit, do everything you can to bridge a gap, to have a good marriage for life, because until doomsday, the one beside you is the only one. Your parents will be gone, your children will be gone, just you and him, or you and her. All right, thank you very much. Valentine's. Happy Valentine's Day.